welcome to Yoka Bisso Production. Bonne année 2021 from Yoka Bisso Production. Today, our platform, we will be discussing the importance of self-care during the pandemic and how we all have been dealing with the pandemic. There's been issues of depressions and different emotions going on. And we have young folks with us today who often feel that the adults are not listening to them. We wanted to give them a chance to come and express themselves and kind of share with us how they have been dealing with this pandemic. We are still in confinement. We've been in lockdown since March 2020 here in California. And so, again, I want to welcome everyone and I want to give you all an opportunity to share what you've been going through. At this time, I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have Mimi, who is a freshman in high school, Aristote, a junior in high school, Matai, a senior in high school, Teriel, also a senior in high school, Ithemba, who is a college student, and Michael, who is a college graduate, class of 2020. And down below, we have our therapist, Miss Karen Bennett. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, I'll start. So I've been going through different emotions, including anger, stress, and frustration. And I feel like that has to do with not being able to play sports because I feel like that keeps me active and it keeps me distracted from the problems that I have going on. Not being able to spend time with my family is really hard too because we go through birthdays and deaths even, and we don't get to spend time with our family because of this virus. And not having my friends either. I feel like they're a big support system. They keep me laughing every day, and not seeing them face to face every day is really hard. And then also just graduating from middle school to high school virtually was really hard too because I worked 3 years just with straight A's too to get there and have to do it virtually. That was really stressful. And then also when I think about I'm going to be a senior one day and not be able to look back at my freshman year and see all those memories, the only thing I would think about is being on a computer every day. So that's really hard. And that's basically what I've had to deal with.
For me, it's mostly I feel like a little lonely because of how we had to be, how we have to stay at home and stuff. Because now we can't go to schools and see our friends. And when I feel like when I'm in school, I feel like a lot more focused because we're in an area where we have to stay like on our toes and stuff. Or we're at home, we can sit back and relax. But at the same time, it's gonna like reduce our focus of learning while in our schools there's nothing much that can distract us, and we're going to be paying more attention than how we do at home. And at the same time, when we're at our schools, we can go every day and every morning, see our friends. Sometimes if we live close, we could walk home together and talk and stuff like that after classes. And now we don't have the luxury of doing that, and we have to just stay home and just communicate through video call like we are right now or on the phone. It's just like a very lonely and stressful situation.
Okay.
In my case, most of it came from, like Mimi said, just like coming from sports and just the lack of just playing it in general. This year, I lost out. Well, I'm pretty much lost out on having my senior season. I lost out on many things concerning football in general. In terms of the recruiting process, I lost a chance to go on official visits where colleges fly you out, show you around the school, show you the weight room, show you all the football facilities. You get to try out one of their jerseys that would feed you. I just lost out on all of that. And then I lost a chance to just, have my senior season. I lost a chance to, go first team all league, just get all those achievements, be team captain. I lost a chance to just show my team what I can do for them as a senior and stuff like that. And as if our star was saying, yeah, I feel the same way in terms of I haven't been able to, see my friends and stuff like that. I haven't been able to go out. Like they were saying, I've just, been on the computer a lot, been on video games a lot, and I've just been just working out a lot in terms like that. But in terms of depression, I wouldn't say I have depression, but like that. But I can understand how how some people would really feel that way when they're, like keeping, like spending so much time away from the people they care about.
I've been obviously staying at home, but I've been coping by doing Netflix or sleeping or drawing or whatever. I think it's been hard to see my friends at least go out still and being able to spend time together because my friends mean a lot to me, and it's been hard not being able to see them all the time because they are a support system and they like make me laugh and feel better. I've also hated doing online school and having to spend my senior year on it and not being able to know when we're going to go back. Um, I've missed out on a lot of things like, prom and just being able to go back to school in general. So that's been pretty hard. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. I think I've been really experiencing a lot of just stressfulness and frustration because I would go through a phase where I'd have either a lot of job interviews lined up or I'd have none at all. And either way, at the end of each interview, they tell me, okay, we'll call you. And then I'd end up with the email telling me that they regret to inform me that I didn't end up in whatever position. So in that sense, it's been just very frustrating.
Yeah, and to second off that, I would say I've been feeling the same things as far as stress, anxiety, anger, and frustration. Last year, 2020 was supposed to be my graduation year. And before the pandemic had even started, I had set up certain jobs that were supposed to relocate me in the Los Angeles area. But due to COVID, I just lost the opportunity to walk my stage and graduate, as well as get those job opportunities. So just dealing with a lot of anger, specifically when you set yourself up for your future to have something locked in, and then it was just all taken away from you. So I would just have been having to deal with that for a while. So yeah.
Wow, thank you all for sharing. I hear you. I hear there's been a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of disappointment, a lot of loneliness, missing your friends and sports activities, graduation ceremonies, were taken, job opportunities were missed, or having to go job interviewing and the opportunities not being there. So it's just been so much, and I'm so sorry for you guys that all that you're going through. Before we hear from our therapist, I do want to ask you guys if you guys could kind of just share with us how you've been taking care of yourself. We know that it's very important to take care of ourselves even when things are going really hard. I know for me, reading a book has been helpful, sometimes just taking a walk. And so I just want to hear from you guys how you're taking care of yourself to make sure that you're staying healthy in every aspect of your life.
So for me, I just like to talk to people who can relate to the situation. So it could be my family, my siblings, because I feel like it helps me just get that off of my chest because it could be frustrating. And then I work out just to keep myself healthy. I work out with my siblings, my parents, so that we're just keeping ourselves active at the same time. I like to read just to learn new things and to get myself away from everything that's going on. I keep my relationship with God close because I feel like that's key. And I keep in mind that I still have 3 more years left of high school. So even though I'm going through this, I do still have 3 more years.
Yeah, so like for me, like as you said, what we do, we work out together, and we go on our walks with our parents as a family, together. So that, and we talk on the way, and we talk while we do our workouts and stuff like that, and communicate. Sometimes to cope, I just I go lay down, and instead of really sleeping, I just sit there and like think about things that might happen in the future, like the past and stuff, and just think of the present, what's going on, And sometimes I just that's all I do. I just sit and think.
Wow, that's really good. You mentioned family time, taking walks with your parents and talking with your parents. That's very helpful and powerful to have family coming together and supporting each other during this time. Next person.
In my case, all this like pent up energy, I just put straight into just the weight room. So all this like energy, all this like frustration, I put like towards football, just bring it back to the weight room. I know that I was able. I'm blessed to, announce that I have received an offer. I was blessed to be able to commit to a college while everything, while this was all going on. So I understand that whether I like it or not, time still goes forward. I am going to be still playing football in college. So all this, I don't have no time to lose. So I have to realize that I have to keep building my body and stuff like that. And I've been doing it. What Mike will tell you, we've been doing just working out with the family, stuff like that. Just every week, just been working out with the family, making sure that we're all staying in like physical shape and stuff like that. And even when we're not working out, I still keep in contact with them. I say like on the video games, we're always playing video games with like the family and stuff like that. Just making sure, we keep in contact with all of them. But yeah, just all that energy I used to put just out in the outside world, I just had to just put towards my body and just making sure I stay connected with the people I care about.
I've been staying connected with my friends as much as possible, like Snapchat or playing Among Us with some of them. I've also like kind of been doing some self-care stuff to keep me just getting up in the morning. I used to exercise, but now I don't. I want to start doing that. But usually I just stick to Netflix, and I'm trying to start some new shows, or I'll draw as a pastime. There isn't really much to do, so.
So you two sound like you're spending time exercising, working out, talking to friends and family, watching Netflix or whatever show. And you mentioned drawing as well, and that's also another good way to kind of just release yourself. Thank you.
Okay. I've also been just reading a lot more lately to keep my mind kind of busy. I'm a huge foodie, so I like to watch a lot of food videos, learn what it is I want to cook for next time I have meals. And then my brother and I, we like to hop on Netflix and watch just all these different anime series just to keep things interesting, just to keep us excited, and just to keep things, I don't know, going for us. And we also will do like whatever, whether it's his business stuff and then my real estate stuff, we also continue to work together. So then afterwards we can watch Netflix or whatever together afterwards. So that's kind of how I keep myself busy.
Mm-hmm. And I would just say, just to back off of everyone and Matai as well, just that, taking this opportunity to adapt to yourself and build is just one of the things I just always try to keep in mind. So I take this opportunity to sit down and read, learn something new. Like Idamba said, I try to build upon a business of my own as far as learning things like about real estate, just to be able to sit down and benefit from what everything is going on. I believe is the best way to cope. I do exercise with my brother as well as my cousins. We to stay safe, we make sure that we have our own separate weight room and then we work out together. And I like doing that because you're able to talk with your family, you're able to check in on them. Everyone's safe because we stay in our own contained area. And we just be able to push each other, make sure that everyone is fine so that we're able to continue and strive. So that's and all. And the number one thing is to also pray, because we always hope for the future. We always want to make sure that everything is okay, and the best way to do that, to give yourself a peace of mind, is through prayer, I believe. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you. I'm liking what you guys are saying, some really good advice on how you're taking care of yourself. And I hope that our viewers are listening and can take some of these ideas that you guys have shared, staying connected with your spirituality, praying, reading your books or Bibles, drawing, walking, exercising, whatever it is, talking to your peers and loved ones, and family times with your parents and siblings. This is all very powerful and really brings great peace and joy in hard times like these. So I want to, and Nisitemba, I heard you talking about how you like to cook. So hopefully this new year you'll be cooking for us at Yoka Biso and feeding us some really good food. So we want to welcome our therapist, Karen, and we would allow her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the type of therapy sessions that she does and so forth, and give us some advice on how to deal with our emotions or whatever depressions, feelings that we may have identified. And everything that we're going through and how to best take care of ourselves. So let's hear from Miss Karen, give us some pointers and, just words of advice to the young folks. You heard them and all that they're going through. What do you have to say?
Well, hi again, everyone, and thank you for having me here at Yoka Biso. So again, I am Karen Bennett, or I go by Karen the Therapist. I am a licensed clinical social worker out of Southern California. I work full-time with a school district, so I do school-based therapy full-time. And then I have a small private practice. And at my private practice, I typically see adults. I may see every once in a while, maybe a 16 or 17-year-old, and do talk therapy. So I've been doing therapy for about 12, going on 13 years now. And I definitely agree that during this pandemic, I even had to stop taking new clients because I was getting a lot of interested clients, and it was just really overwhelming. Even as a therapist, our role is to be supportive of the people that we are providing the service to. But it became really complicated during the pandemic because it was like the first time in my experience professionally that I was going through a lot of the same things that my clients were going through, right? We were all living through a pandemic. We were all witnessing a lot of racial injustices, a lot of just like deaths personally, right? But really just like these big figures in our lives. And so there was just so much going on where I had to just kind of scale back a little bit and focus on my own wellness. So I was so glad when you asked all the panelists to share about their wellness and their self-care activities. And they had some really good self-care activities. And I think it's so important that you guys continue to do that. I hope you are listening to each other and you are thinking of other things that you could probably start doing to put into your self-care regimen, because it is very important during this pandemic to make sure that you're caring for yourself. I do want to highlight that I love the vulnerability here. I love that you guys are being really honest, right? It's so easy to just act like we're not affected by this pandemic, but we are, right? When we first started, it felt like, oh, just 2 weeks. We're shutting down for 2 weeks, and then 2 more weeks, and then a month, and then 2 months. And we're just like, when is this going to end, right? We weren't really getting the information, or people didn't have the right information to give us at the time, maybe. But it just seemed like it was going to be a quick thing, and it kept going and going. And now we're in 2021 and we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So you're going to have a roller coaster of emotion. That's very normal. It makes sense. And I hope that if you felt like you were alone in it, I hope that just even the panelists feel validated that they aren't the only ones who are going through different emotions. And I think it's really important. One of the things that you guys I think almost everyone mentioned was like the social support, making sure that you're tapping in and still checking in with your friends and checking in with your family and trying to find new ways to connect with each other. That's so important, right? Redefining kicking it with your cousins. Right now it's like, okay, maybe we work out. We're doing things outdoors versus everybody in the living room watching a movie, or we're playing video games virtually and we have our headphones on and we're talking to each other and we're trying to connect. We're doing FaceTime, we're doing Zoom, we're doing maybe park meetups where we can be socially distanced, where we can still maybe see each other. So this definitely is the time to try to be creative and try to still feel connected, because that's so important. The other thing that you guys mentioned was exercising. And I'm so glad that a lot of you shared about exercising, because study after study has shown that the chemicals that your brain releases when you exercise definitely help you to elevate your mood, helps to relieve stress and anxiety, and just helps you physically feel more calm. So I definitely encourage you guys to continue to do that. I think that's great that you're already doing it, and please continue. Yeah. I do want to highlight that sometimes we get really caught up in in mental health. You know, there's this big stigma around mental health and a big stigma around therapy, and then culturally for non-Westerners, there's even a bigger stigma about mental health.
Yeah.
Being Congolese American, sometimes there's older people in the family who don't quite understand therapy or understand it, but they would never do it, right? That's for other people. That's not for them. They don't understand the benefits of therapy. And so I do want to continue, or I just want to encourage everyone on this panel, everyone watching, just to make sure that if you are feeling like your symptoms are getting to a place where it's overwhelming, where you're unable to really care for yourself, maybe you're spending more days sleeping in your room, you're isolating more, you're not finding pleasure in the things that you normally used to find pleasure in, definitely consider maybe reaching out and seeking therapy. You can do that by looking at the back of your insurance card if you have insurance. You could go to your primary care doctor and talk to your primary doctor and share with them some of the symptoms that you're having. You could, there's other sites. There's one called Psychology Today where therapists like myself advertise. And there's another popular one that I like called Therapy for Black Girls, which is another site where therapists advertise their services. So there are ways that you can get therapy and sometimes even low-cost therapy. So you don't have to do this alone if you feel like all of your coping skills are just no longer working. You've tried hanging out with, calling your friends. You've tried working out. You've tried watching Netflix. You've tried watching anime. You tried taking walks with your family and nothing seems to work. You're still just feeling really down. Then that's when you really should maybe consider seeking some more support, seeking professional support, okay? Because there is a difference between having depressive symptoms and being clinically diagnosed with depression. And that comes from meeting with a psychotherapist, meeting with a psychiatrist, and they will ask you a series of questions, do an assessment to determine if you actually have clinical depression, right? Which is different than having symptoms, right? Having like a little bit of a depressed mood, feeling a little bit irritated, feeling more fatigued. So it's just important for you to tap into yourself, pay attention to your body. If people that love you, if they're maybe concerned about you, be open to understanding that. And to the parents listening, I definitely encourage you to not minimize what your child is going through. So many adults, as far as parents, really minimize what their child is going through. They feel like, oh, they have nothing to worry about. They don't have bills. That's like the famous one. They don't have bills, right? Or the other one I hear working at a school is, he's just lazy. Mm-hmm. But it's like, but this is the same student who was active in sports, was getting decent grades, like hanging out with their friends, and all of a sudden, they're isolating more. They're spending more time in their room. They're not engaging with family anymore. Their grades are dropping. That doesn't just seem like laziness to me, right? So it's time for parents to take the blinders off too, and to realize that being a teenager is stressful, to try to put themselves back in those teenage years, and even add more stress now because of social media. I work at a high school. I see fights all the time. I break up fights all the time because somebody put a heart eye emoji under his picture, and how dare she do that? And there's a fight now. So that's real stress. I am thankful that social media started after I left high school. So parents, we have to honestly be more realistic and understanding that life is not easy for our teenagers just because they don't pay bills. Yes. And we have to be really willing to listen and get them the support that they need, if they need more support than we could just offer them.
Wow, thank you. Because I'm that parent. I'm like, excuse me, you don't pay no bill at my house. Why are you walking too loud? Why you chewing too loud? And we all stuck together. You walking all heavy. I said, boy, did you pay your walking bill today? So I'm gonna do better. Thank you for addressing us parents, because parents, sometimes we forget where we came from. We were once young and our parents got on our nerve from just talking. And so just imagine you're stuck with them 24/7. So I take that advice. I'm going to do better. I'm going to listen and pay attention to my teenagers, and don't remind them too often that they don't pay no bills, because they don't. But thank you so much. You heard it from our therapist. We will have her information at the end of our discussion on our website, also on our YouTube channel. So you will have our information, ways to contact her, and how, some of the helpful ideas that she shared with us will also be listed on there. So thank you all for sharing. I know that there's so much we can talk about since this pandemic has started and everything that's going on and still going on. But I want to say to you all, please stay safe. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to follow all the safety guidelines that's set forth for us. Washing your hands and sanitizing and cleaning, and, when you protect yourself, you protect others. So as we continue on with this pandemic, with the lockdown, not knowing when it's going to be over, but we're grateful the vaccine had started. And so we'll just take it a day at a time. We're here for you guys. Send us, message us, email us any ideas that you want to discuss or topics that you want to see us bring forth on Yokabiso. And again, we thank you. Merci à vous tous. Ndeng bozo supporter biso Yokabiso production. Binomo boyo kinde ba jeune ba lobby na situation oyo tozo leka ya na moment ya pandémique. Vraiment biso ba parents to ça l'effort to yoka bana tant bazo lo ba po bazo vraiment passer ba temps moko vraiment difficile tina niveau ya dépression kozala isolé et tout, vraiment tout ça là tout to conforter bango to supporter bango puis to yoka bango tango bazo lo ba bana vraiment na besoin que to yoka bango. Alors na tikibino, bonne fête et bonne année 2021. That's it for today, Yokabiso, which means hear us. We will be back and bringing you more topics of discussion. See you throughout the year 2021. Happy New Year.
Bye. It's important to note that our panelists today were being honest and sharing how the pandemic has been difficult, and also sharing some of the coping skills that they've been using in order to manage the roller coaster that comes with living in a pandemic. But we really think it's important to highlight that symptoms of depression is very different than being clinically diagnosed with depression. And that happens by seeing a therapist or a doctor and them going over the symptoms that you're experiencing and seeing how much it is impacting your daily living. So we really want to encourage everyone to tap into their emotions, tap into your behavior, notice if there's any differences, and seek support. Reach out to a trusted friend, a trusted adult, if you feel like you are unable to really manage what you're feeling anymore. Some other resources, if you really do want to find someone to talk to, 211 is a number that most counties use as a resource line. So you would just use your phone, call 211, and share what you're going through and what you're looking for. And typically you can get resources in your area. You can also contact your behavioral health line on the back of your insurance card if you have insurance. And that number typically can give you different therapists that are covered by your insurance. Lastly, there are profiles by therapists on different sites where you can actually see therapists like myself, see availability, the cost, what they offer, and see if you can maybe make a connection that way. Some of those sites that are popular are Psychology Today and Therapy for Black Girls. The most important thing is to really be honest with yourself. Try to see if you have your coping skills, and if you are having a hard time, that's okay. Reach out to a trusted friend or adult, and then reach out to a professional as needed.